Chapter 5. The Fall. Fury raged through me as I felt the overwhelming presence of so many Sith. It was no surprise they had betrayed us, but they were attacking the Senate Tower and the Jedi Temple. I could give a damn about the Senate, but the Temple was an utter outrage. Younglings, most my children's age, were there. My master, my brother, Kazrin. Without further thought, I ran. The streets and skies were the most chaotic battlefield I'd ever seen. I killed every Imperial that got in my way, and I was so focused on this task, I ignored any cries for help I heard. I had to get to the temple. I was halfway there when I saw Kazrin. He was helping an injured group of people out of the street as Imperial bombers flew by, pointing them in the direction of safety. Relief poured through me as I rushed over to him, and he embraced me tightly.
You can't stay here, Laresa. He's going to trap us. Use us as leverage. You must get out. Report back to the council what's happened.
I pulled out of his embrace. No, I'm not leaving. We've got to get to the temple.
It's lost, Laresa. You can't.
We can't just let them take it. Kazrin said something, but I didn't hear him. My master had just fallen. I felt his death, and my anger surged. Ignoring my brother, I released the blades on my double-bladed lightsaber, and I began running in that direction.
Laresa!
Kazrin used the Force to give him a burst of speed, and suddenly he was in front of me again, putting up his hands.
Laresa, stop!
But I couldn't stop. I just couldn't. I flicked my wrist and used the Force to make my brother fly off to the side, out of my way. I charged towards the temple again, but Kazrin recovered, and he used the Force to yank me back towards him.
Laresa, this is not the way. We can't fight them here.
But I can kill most of them. I wanted their deaths. I needed their deaths. Every time a Jedi fell, I could feel it, and they just kept falling. It was feeding my rage so hotly I could no longer ignore it, and I certainly couldn't control it. I just didn't know how. Over a decade of feelings I tried so hard to release exploded inside of me as if they had never left. Not even the thought of my children brought me any peace, but only fed my rage. What if they had been in the temple? What if I'd arrived hours earlier and taken them to see their uncle? It was my job to kill Sith. I was excellent at it, and nothing was going to stop me from doing so now. I started for the temple again.
I said stop!
Kazrin shot his hands out, his Force power knocking me backwards, purposefully hurting me this time, trying to get my attention.
You have to get out of here. Now!
I got to my feet, my knuckles scratched and bleeding, my face a pure mask of fury. Help me, or get out of my way.
Laresa, don't do this. We'll fight them together, just not here!
Get out of my way! My words were a roar, the power of them knocking him backwards. I leaped at him, but he was up and he blocked my blade. I could smell the smoke, the blaster fire, the charred flesh. The death of the Jedi, the hate of so many Sith coursed through me, and I used it. Kazrin suddenly became an enemy, and all I could think about was defeating him. It was insane how power I felt, how much sharper, faster my motions became. He had no choice but to engage me, and he couldn't hold anything back. If he still harbored any hope, I would not use every breath left in me to avenge what had just been done. His blade came at my chest, I countered. It came at my head and I ducked, put a hand to the ground, pushed upwards and flipped over him. I kicked him hard, sending him stumbling forward. I charged, but he was so quick. He met every strike, put me back on the defensive, and that just fed my anger. His foot landed in my chest, sent me backwards. He used his Force power to rip up the Duracrete sidewalk, sending a stream of rocks in my path. Growling, I cut through them and I leapt at him again, my blade coming down towards his head. He brought up his own. He blocked my strike, tried to sweep my feet out from underneath me. I jumped, thrust my blade at his midsection. He twirled his own double-bladed lightsaber, knocking away my strike. And with the other end, he cut my face near my jaw. I blanched at the hit, and for just a second I tasted my own blood.
Laresa, stop! Please! You've gone too far!
But I couldn't hear him. I couldn't even see him. I attacked again, and we were locked in a fierce battle, the sounds of our saber cutting through the air, strike after strike after strike, until suddenly it happened. I gained the edge. I saw the opening I needed, and without hesitation I went in for the kill. Triumph on my face as I drove my lightsaber into his chest. In that moment, the world returned to focus. In that moment, I saw him. Saw Kazrin. My beloved brother, the shock on his face, the twist of pain. What had I done? I withdrew my blade and he dropped it. He collapsed and I caught him frantically. Oh no. Oh no, 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 Kazrin, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, don't leave. Oh, please don't go, I didn't mean it.
Don't lose your way.
Kazrin, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't die. Please. But he did die. Not a second later. Despite my furious tears and pleading sobs. And when I realized he was gone, I shattered. I clutched him to me. I clutched him to me so tightly, and I screamed. I screamed, and I roared, and I sobbed, and I felt like I would come apart at the seams with the force of my agony.
Laresa! Get up! Come on, get up!
Reide was pulling on me. I didn't know how long she'd been there or what she'd seen, but it didn't seem to matter. I stared up at her, still holding onto Kazrin. I killed him.
You want to get off this planet or not? We've got to go.
Reide grabbed my arm and she forced me to my feet. I went with her, letting her lead me like I was a lost child. Reide had a blaster in one hand and was firing off shots as we ran, talking into her earpiece.
Risha, keep those engines running hot. Baldar, get ready to man those guns.
I still don't know how Reide managed to get us off Coruscant. I could only attribute it to her natural ability as a pilot. A few hours after the battle, Xerrin contacted us. I had spent the time in a daze, sitting almost motionless in the main hold of my sister's ship. I hadn't said a word. I still couldn't when Xerrin's hollow image appeared.
Oh, thank God you're both all right. Reza? What's wrong?
Reide moved in front of me, shielding me from Xerrin.
Kazrin's dead. Sith got him.
I'd felt it, but I'd hoped. Laresa.
Xerrin, I am so sorry.
It's not your fault, Laresa. Kazrin is one with the Force now. We must find comfort in that.
But it was my fault. And her words broke me a little more.
I must go. I'll let you know when I find out more. I love you. Both of you.
Let me take you home, Laresa.
No. Not yet. Hey!